Good morning, guys, and welcome to FYI. Great to see each and every one of you on the live broadcast with us this morning. Share the live, folks, as we say. Smash that emoji button. What are you guys having for breakfast this morning? If you haven't had it already, I'm feeling a little tightly wrapped. A little tightly wrapped this morning. But good to see each and every one of you on the live. Elizabeth Narine and Raymond Narine there in Sparkle City, Antonia, Lizelle, Ariane, all the other folks joining us this morning. Welcome to FYI. Good to see you folks. What's happening with these talks on Thursday, folks? What's happening with these talks on Thursday? There's so much uncertainty, so many uncertainties. You know, as a colleague would say, uncertainties. So many out there, folks. Wow. This seems to be going downhill very fast. Folks, this meeting in St. Vincent and the Grenadines seem to be going downhill very, very fast. And it's one of the things we're going to be discussing this morning. Good to see all of you on the broadcast. Good folks. Share the live as you come on, whichever page, whichever social media platform you're joining us from. Good to have you here as well. I see Chris is here with us. How are we looking? So we look a little tingish this morning. Chris Kip. Good to have you, Chris and Sharon Mercurius. Good to have you here as well. And all of those other folks who are joining us this morning. Great to see each and every one of you. We got Tracy Clark on the live. And who else we got here? Folks, good morning, wherever you are joining us from. Good morning to all of you. Good morning, guys, wherever, ever. Shalon Joseph, rather. You see, the eye is not working. Apparently this morning, going to have you, Myrna's Toby. Folks, again, whichever page or profile or what have you. What's happening with this meeting in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Where are our folks from St. Vincent and the Grenadines? We'd love to hear from you, guys. And again, welcome each and every one of you to our program. Welcome to our program. Paul Hicks, we see you there. Folks, we hope you're having a sumptuous breakfast. No other way, guys, to start the day. No other way to start the day. Winella Garnett, we see you there as well, Winella. Winella, we see you there as well. How are you doing? Winella, we hope you're great. We hope. Renella, we hope you're great. Again, to the many folks who are joining us from the various places, really happy that you folks can join us this morning. We're getting ready to make a start. Share the live for us in the meantime. We hold for a second or two. Smash that emoji button as well, good folks. Again, we're just delighted to have all of you wonderful folks join us from the many places you join us from. Desiree Manuel, we see you there. Desiree and Debbie Collins. Debs, how are you doing at your end? Great to see you, Debbie Collins. Camille Cox is here as well. Camille says she's very scared. You know, the folks will tell us, none to fear, just fear itself, Camille. John Cook. I know Camille believes in the Almighty too. Robin Kendall, good to have all of you on the live this morning. Camille, our hard-working counselor from Region 6. We're appearing a bit fuzzy. We're trying to work that out. Good to have all of you here with us. Sheena Hazel, Claire Capel is here too. Trust that you guys had something for breakfast. What are you guys having for breakfast at your end? Claire Alexis Chomley Richmond is joining us. From Region 11, she's in the diaspora, in the New York area. Good to have you, Claire, and said all the other folks who are joining us this morning. Great to have all of you on the line. We're a little fussy, I don't know why. We're going to take what we get and with what we want. We apologize, folks. Yolanda Thomas, all the other guys who are joining us this morning. Great to have each and every one of you on the live, folks. Good to have each and every one of you on the live with us this morning. Sherry is here, Sherry Jones, and Fennell Innes and Edward Brooms. Eric Williams is here as well. Good to have you. Lachman Aziz. Lachman, how are you doing? How are things at your end? How things at your end, Lachman? Good to have you on the live as well, folks. Welcome to our broadcast. For your information, it is Wednesday, the 13th day of December. Already, we're almost halfway there, guys. It's when the pain. I know that's what some of you, especially in Guyana, thinking is when the paid a little salary. You know what we see it here? You know we see it here, folks. A lot's happening with this meeting, guys. A lot's happening with this meeting that is scheduled for tomorrow in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Well, if Ralph involved, we're not expecting confusion. Abira, Jolly, Kyle, Yolanda, Margaret Nelson. If Ralph is involved, ain't we expecting little confusion? Don't let it come down, we funny. Once Ralph is involved, that's what we're expecting. Magna, Jolly and Sherry Jones. That is a lot of confusion, right? And like Irfaan them didn't read it properly. That's the other part of it. Irfaan Ali and Co. Premanik Chan and the learned Attorney General, other than that, like they were reading too clearly. All of us knew Maduro was coming to discuss one thing. Ralph said it in his letter. Maduro said it in his letter. But now Ali and Co. waking up, Ali and Company. Now they're waking up. Maduro wants to come in Georgetown. There's a Georgetown in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And he wants to discuss the Guyana Venezuela territorial controversy. Controversy. That's what he wants to discuss. John, that's what he wants to discuss. That's what he wants to discuss. This meeting. You know who has some reservations about this meeting? The leader of the opposition. You know who has some reservations about this meeting? The Alliance for Change. The Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs in the National Corporation, Amanda Walton Disease. She has some concerns about this meeting as well. And the time Prem Malik Chan, Minister of Education, taking the try to lecture us what we should be discussing on our platform. They should be reading some of these the communiques coming out of Caracas. Very informative. Very informative. We've been reading them. They've been telling us Maduro wants to discuss Essequibo. That is what he wants to talk about. He wants to talk about the Essequibo, Gisela. What are we going to what are we going to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to talk about? The weather? Pageantry? What are we going to talk about? Is a vacation? Yvette Juna? So if an alien company, Barrett Jagno, very quiet, suspiciously quiet, they want just a photo up in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And Maduro is very, very, very adamant. We got to discuss the Essequibo. Why this meeting is taking place alone is mind-boggling. All of the expert, the technical expert, and others have been telling us that there should have been lots of stages before we got to where they are now. Brenda Moore, Lorena Alicart. This should have been a staged process. That's what the folks are telling us. But of course, these boys think you can't tell them anything. These folks we have here to deal with believe that we can't tell them anything on this matter. See? And so they're shooting themselves in the foot. They are shooting themselves in the foot on this very issue, folks. On this very issue. Look at some of what we're covering this morning. Folks are telling us that there should be sanctions for Maduro for defying the ICJ. And then there are others external to Guyana who believe that Maduro should be sanctioned for defying the ICJ. Why are we meeting with him? Good folks, why are we meeting with him? To what end? And this is what John Anderson said of the House of Lords. For defying the ICJ, Maduro should be sanctioned. But no, not so. You know what we're doing? We are rewarding him with a high-level meeting. Spurrily, are you of that view? Are you of that worldview? Maxine Monroe, Yolanda Thomas. This is what John Anderson said of the House of Lords there in the UK. Sanctions should be what is greeting Maduro, and not a meeting of this nature. But do we feel the same way? No, we're going to reward him. We want a photo op. We're trying to build a rapport on the international stage. We're trying to get seen. Because all that, this is the fastest growing economy, biggest GDP, high income country. They're not bursting through on the international stage. And you know, when you're dealing with some of the folks we're dealing with at this end, everything is for the opportunity. We got to move beyond that. Guyanese, wherever we are in the world this morning, we got to move beyond that. So the House of Lords, John Anderson is telling us, Maduro should be sanctioned. Clearly. Irfaan doesn't look like he feels the same way because he's about to reward Maduro. An unclear agenda, but yet you're rushing into a meeting. Folks, years ago, and there's a truism here, right? Years ago, I watched a movie with Clint Eastwood and some other phenomenal actors. The title of the movie was Where Eagles Dare. That was when Clint Eastwood was in his heyday. I know some of you folks, wise and brilliant as us old folks are, you know, us big people got to stick together. And we say it all the time. Fools rush in. Carrying crows. Rush in. Where eagles there. Right? So why is Irfaan Ali rewarding Maduro with a high-level meeting? And folks in the House of Lords telling us sanctions should be what is being meted out to Maduro for defying the ICJ. What did the ICJ tell us? That neither party should have been taking any measures, actions, to change the status quo. Maduro had a referendum. He putting up a pseudo-administrative structure for Essequibo. You know, I saw one report out of Jamaica that's telling us that Maduro is already issuing ID cards to our citizens living in the Essequibo. You see, Priya Manichan, Irfaan Ali, Baal Jagneo, Alan Andalal, Utah, Orange Waldron, the whole pack of them, Kwame, they're telling Guyanese what they think Guyanese should know. What they think Guyanese should know. You know, and you know, as for a discussion I had with the Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister, one of the things she said is that, yes, we understand you can't reveal everything, but there's some level of transparency that is needed for the Guyanese people on this very issue. And we're not having that. What we have is a lot of grandstanding. What we have is a lot of dilly-dallying. Margaret Nelson, Tessa, Yolanda, international lawyer, Selvin Peters. What we have here is a lot of shilly-shallying and dilly-dallying, grandstanding, all the ings on this issue, you know. And respected international lawyer Selvin Peters says, I don't think the meeting could be construed as a reward. The stakes are high at this point, and there is no downside risk. The downside risk, a national lawyer, is Irfaan looking like a total buffoon on the international stage. And then we have to work doubly hard already to rebuild our image. You know, and I don't know if international lawyer Selwyn Peters, when he looks at this from the outside, if he gets the sense that these guys really and truly understand international relations. Moses Prophet, Barbara Ralph, Sir Anderson of the House of Lords says, look, sanctions, not meetings. Sanctions, not meetings. Even the Commonwealth rejecting vehemently these actions by Maduro. And it was recently during the Commonwealth Ministerial Group meeting, they met on Monday, that the CMGG said they were convening an emergency meeting on this issue and rejected outright these callous, dastardly actions by that other regime there in Caracas. We ought to think this thing through. Barbara, Calbino, Anne-Marie, we ought to think this thing through. The other thing, Attorney-at-Law Peters, that we've been hearing, is people say that we should be in a national period of mourning, and when that period is up, engage Maduro. Engage Maduro. But let us weep with those who are weeping. Let us mourn with those who are mourning. And aren't we all? So the Commonwealth Ministerial Group on Guyana met on Monday and rejected this foolish action and actions by Nicolás Maduro and his regime. I haven't heard from Delcy Rodriguez in a little while, like Jack Dio. He lying low like Rodriguez, or she's lying low like him, but they're very eerily quiet. And for a man who has a thought in everything conceivable under the sun, remember, he's a policy fellow. He's only in policy issues. I'm quite surprised as well that Irfaan Ali is yet to address the National Assembly on this matter. I'm quite surprised yet to address the National Assembly on this matter. And in this letter to the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez, your old friend Ralph, Ali says he has a mandate from the National Assembly. Well, if you want to call it that. But I would have rather see Irfaan Ali in the well of the National Assembly talking to this nation about where we are in this issue. You know, the last time Irfaan went to the National Assembly, they locked out the opposition. So much for one Guyana. Yep. They locked the opposition out. So I don't know if he's afraid to come back, if he got off on the wrong foot there. But Irfaan Ali by now should have addressed this nation through the National Assembly on what his government administration and regime call an existential threat. And what he elevated his government as well, saying it's an imminent threat. But the National Assembly has not been addressed as yet. And we know that our 5 servicemen who lost their lives, they were on a mission to our western borders, to other servicemen who served there. They were on a mission there when their aircraft came down, and we're still waiting for a comprehensive investigation into all the circumstances that led here. Right? All the circumstances that led here. And I love a contrary review on our broadcast. And here we have again the national lawyer Selwyn Peters saying the ICJ ruling could take years. In the meantime, what do we do to instill investor confidence and the confidence of our people in the government of Guyana and the ability to deal with its neighbor? Well, as Selwyn, I will say only this, right? That instilling, having our people have confidence in this government was something waning long before this issue came to this fever pitch. It's come to. Long before then, the people of this country had some issues with confidence in the Irfaan government. And I don't see how the people of this country could want confidence in the investors, especially in oil and gas, when we're not even feeling this windfall of wealth. People keep telling us fastest growing economy, high income country and all of that. We're not feeling that. And that British journalist questioning, putting questions to Irfaan, the president, was right. Maybe he was conveying my sentiments too. We live in this country, fastest growing economy, wealth and all that, but we don't feel it. So during the course of the National Assembly, a meeting on Monday, there's another meeting, there's another sitting of the National Assembly tomorrow. FYI, there's another sitting of the National Assembly tomorrow. During the last sitting on Monday, the leader of the opposition, Mr. Norton, raised the issue that while we agree with honoring these 5 fallen heroes, the 2 who survived, thankfully, this horrific crash, from all that we know, the little that we know, should be honored as well. Should be honored as well. Well, apparently the leader of the opposition can't express a thought in the National Assembly because Priya sprung to her feet. Priya Malik-Shah, the Minister of Education, sprung to her feet. Take a listen to what she said.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to put on the record, I think this is a very important discussion. There are a lot of hurt families. We have seen His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief, lead not only with strength, but with enormous compassion and empathy. And I think it's important for all listening to know that the 2 survivors are being treated as our precious resource and that there are going to be honors in their name. I think when we have survivors, it's a good thing for us to give them a choice about how they might like to be honored. And so it's there's no need to call on us to do that. We're pushing at an open door. We're as one on that issue. The president was clear. The president was clear in his public speech yesterday for all who want to hear and who are receptive to this kind of commentary that all of the persons who served as heroes on this flight will be honored. All of the persons will be honored. And I want to say at this time that it is important. I echo the opposition's leader's call that we should be one on this issue. But we should not be one in this house and then mount a platform at Stabroek and say something else. We have to be one all the time.
Thank you very
much. There was the Minister of Education, Priya Malik-Shah, making the point. You know, opposition leader, don't say nothing. We don't got this. We got this, opposition leader Norton. Don't say nothing but honoring these 2 survivors, these 2 heroes. We got this. You know, that is the problem with this government. They believe all the answers repose in them. The Prime Minister spoke for a long time on honoring our 5 fallen heroes. And nowhere in his presentation did he talk about honoring our 2 beloved brothers, the 2 heroes who survived this ordeal. And so the opposition leader was making the point. They should be honored as well. So there was Priya Malik-Shah saying, we got this, you don't say nothing. Right? And then she wants to instruct us, instruct the parliamentary opposition, what we should be mounting our platforms and saying. Now, she wanted to instruct us. Well, I spoke with Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister Amanda Walton is here on the sidelines of this the last sitting on Monday, and this issue came up, and the Foreign Affairs Shadow Minister took exception to Priya Balinchan's intervention. She took exception to that intervention. Take a listen to some of what the Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Amanda Walton Desir, said to me as we spoke.
In the National Assembly today, we heard Priya Balinchan on her feet, even though she wasn't slated to speak, talk about what they are doing. That's what she premised for the soldiers who thankfully survived this horrific ordeal of this crash. The Prime Minister didn't seem to know what she was talking about because he didn't mention it in his presentation. But then she talks about what should be oneness on this issue of the Venezuelans and this controversy that we have, the border controversy with Venezuela, and what should be the one issue and what we should be talking about on our platforms. I mean, it's incredible.
And that is Priya Balinchan's modus operandi for the longest while. Look, we, and I think the leader of the opposition rightfully alluded to the fact that we want to be very sure that it is placed on record in the House that we are committed to one, honoring the survivors, and two, ensuring that the well-being of the survivors and so on is adequately taken care of. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with us putting that on record in the House. The Prime Minister didn't speak about it. They alluded to what the President said, but the fact remains that that is not on the Hansard. And so I think Priya does not understand the importance of preserving certain things in the Hansard and being on record as supporting the initiatives to make sure that these two gentlemen who thankfully survived, and to make sure that the family of the families of the deceased servicemen are adequately taken care of. I just thought that she was looking for attention, quite frankly. But what struck me is when she was allowed by the Speaker to go even further, to say to us what we must and must not say at our public meetings. And it is the gall that she believes that she somehow has. And, you know, I think at that point we decided that we'd had enough. Because you have a situation where you have Barjack Day every Thursday comes on and spews whatever he wishes to.
Mm-hmm.
And foists his opinions on this
Culture, all kinds of things.
Even all kinds of things. Even though we are in tense times, and not one word of reproof or correction from them. But you want to tell us what we can and can't say when we know our political platform. I think we have been very clear to the people of Guyana that we will support the government as is necessary. We have also been very clear that we're not going to be led around by the nose. I think in the National Assembly, the Speaker, the leader of the opposition pointed out that when he was called, it was a fait accompli. So he was notified rather than consulted on whether a meeting should happen. And I think he made that very clear on the floor of the National Assembly. I think we are seeing that there is a reluctance and an inability of this government to parse issues. They are attempting to paint our inquiries about how we're treating Venezuelan migrants in this country with a xenophobic brush. And that is dangerous. It is dangerous for the people of Guyana because there is no place in the world that you can go and stay illegally and there not be consequences. This government is operating as if people have a right to just come into Guyana and stay and set up house and live here without any kind of proper legal process. And when you advocate for a proper legal process, you're being accused of promoting xenophobia. What are we, a cowboy country? Then anybody could just roll up in here and do what they want, and Guyanese must say nothing, and we as the representatives of the Guyanese people must remain quiet in the National Assembly? It's not going to happen. We are saying that you have to have a system where Venezuelans who are here must be made to present themselves to the authorities, must be made to register, and must be made to provide information such as addresses, etc., as to where they can be tracked. This is nothing new or strange. These are mechanisms that exist in any country where it's solved, that has an idea that it has to, one, protect its national interest, two, protect the interests of the people of the country, particularly against an adversarial state. And so I believe that this government is failing to understand the gravity of exactly what is happening here. The data produced today in the National Assembly suggests that there are no Venezuelan migrants in Region 10. No, as a Linda and I know that is the farthest from the truth. And so they're saying one thing in the National Assembly, but the reality of the ground is completely different. And for the life of me, they cannot humble themselves enough to say, you know what? We do not have it right. We are attempting to get it right. What you see is a pushback and an obfuscating of the reality. And my fear is that by the time we wake up, Guyanese are going to be outnumbered in our country at least 5 to 1. It has already happened in Region 1. Where for every 1 Guyanese, there are 4 Venezuelan migrants. And it is a clear and present danger that this government refuses to contemplate. Now, from 2001, I have been speaking about this, and I've been very, very clear. And I stood up against accusations of being xenophobic and all of this, but exactly what I said, we are seeing playing out before us today. Guyanese are uneasy. Guyanese are uncertain about what is happening. We have a duty to assuage those doubts, and not with the cosmetic approach that this government seems to be wanting to embrace, but with real, meaningful consultation, with meaningful involvement, because in the end, all are involved and all are consumed.
Yep, and that's why this meeting coming up on Thursday is so important. Your Foreign Affairs Minister shadowing that portfolio. What are your thoughts? A lot of moving parts, a lot of folks. What are your thoughts as Guyana goes into this meeting in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Thursday?
Well, I believe that the leader of the opposition would have set out in large part our view on this issue. I believe that he was very clear, and I agree that there ought to have been more technical level consultations before this ultimate summit. The people of Guyana are not in possession of information as to whether the groundwork for this has been laid properly. And so we're very cognizant of the concerns that a number of our constituents are echoing in terms of why are we meeting, etc. And I think we've made it very, very clear, that the discussion on the issue of the border controversy is off of the table. The Parliament has made that very clear, and so the government does not have a mandate to put that on the table in any event. And so I hope that is stuck to very rigorously and religiously. I think it is important that consultation with the opposition be meaningful and not just advise us when the boat has already gone afoul. So you can't notify us of a fait accompli and deem that consultation. These are concerns that the leader of the opposition raised, but we are also acutely aware that Guyanese are nervous, Guyanese are worried. We are interacting with mothers who have sons in our defense force, and so their overarching concern is how do we preserve the peace so that I don't have to lose my son possibly, or my son or daughter that's in the armed forces is in jeopardy. And I think for us that is the prevailing cry. My personal view is that I would have liked to have seen some acts of good faith by the Maduro administration before this summit. it appears as though they are proceeding with their aggressive domestic agenda. I think today there was a commission meeting on the ordinary law, and so it seems as though they are not making any deliberate effort to de-escalate the situation. And so I thought that it would have been important, and again, this is my own view, that there would be some prior acts of good faith that would encourage us that there is likely to be at least a de-escalation in the current tensions. But the meeting is on. As for us, we hope and pray for a favorable outcome, because we, beyond the welfare of the people of Guyana, which is our paramount concern, it is important that this zone, this region remain a zone of peace. We will need every ounce of our resolve to get through this. We will need really to have a spirit of togetherness to get through this. And what I saw in the National Assembly, particularly from Priya Chan, suggests that this government has not fully understood that this is not playtime. This is not time for grandstanding.
Yep. Folks, welcome back. That is part of my discussion with the Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister and Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister of International Cooperation as well, Manzo Walton Desir, talking about some of the happenings in the National Assembly on Monday, and also on this meeting that's supposed to be going down tomorrow between President Irfaan Ali and President Nicolás Maduro in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Will it happen? Don't know. Looks unlikely with every passing moment. Folks, you all share the live as yet. Some of you all are so engrossed in the conversation with me in the comments. Beauty and Brains, Vances Big Girl, Lois Levan, Joel Ward, and Shalin Juice Tendry. Virginia, welcome. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. The cases pertaining to the electoral fraud charges have been languishing in magistrates' court, even after, they said they got all this overwhelming evidence of electoral fraud. It's going to be pushed to January 15th, I think they tell us, 2024. Yeah. January 15, 2024, that's when they go back to court on the case pertaining to the electoral fraud. There's a lot of folks before the court on this, a host of former GCOM employees. Walter Lawrence, you have Casper Joseph, a lot of folks, trumped up bogus charges. They still got canter loads of evidence. And yet, you can secure one conviction. Those of you who live in the United States of America, you all know the January 6th insurrection went a different way a long time ago. Lots of persons already convicted. And then Nandalal and Irfaan Ali and Jagvio like to talk about rigged election and attempted rigging and all that. Where's the evidence? Where's the convictions to match with those words? That's the challenge we have in this country. 3 years in, we had all such stall tactics. I wonder what international lawyer Selwyn Peters would say on that. 3 years in, nothing. Nothing. A lot of Caribbean leaders had a lot to say as well. Nothing. We knew there was nothing from day one. We knew that the folks acted legally, lawfully. 3 years in, wasting people's time, running to court back and forth. But that's what the PPP is good at. Weaponizing the court system against their political enemies, sadly. That's the state of affairs. So the case goes back to the court. Magistrates court is before Magistrate Leron Daly goes back before the court on January 15th, 2024. And while the people use every stall tactics in the book, the last thing I saw, Magistrate Daly said that she wasn't going to help this special prosecutor, Darshan Ramdani, organize his statements and so on. The case is in total disarray. January 14th, folks. This could be January 2025, 2026, 2027, for all we know. You know, for all we know. That's what's happening. And folks, before we let you go, believe it or not, Gail Teixeira says, Guyana human rights obligations, they're being observed and honored. Tell the folks that the folks who used to live at Cane View, Mucka, who were uprooted so violently, tell it to them. Tell it to them. Said, yes, Guyana is observing all of its human rights obligations. We can pick instance after instance. We saw folks at Success, squatting settlement, pregnant mothers, tear gas, dragged through the mud. You know, and then there's been lots of action where the Guyana police force is concerned, not of unexplained killings. You know, human rights. Tell that to the family of Orin Boston from Dartmouth Village on the Essequibo courts. Tell it to them. So they're observing all of their human rights obligations as a government. And it's not even April 1st. It's not even April 1st. Folks, that horrific accident on the Friendship Highway on the East Bank claimed 2 more lives. Yeah, this is a sad state of affairs. A very, very, very sad state of affairs. Keon Edwards, the driver for that bus, succumbed recently. Right? Succumbed recently. And we talk here often about how it's a wild, wild west in this country, carnage on our roads and waterways, and sadly, the government don't seem to be able to deal with this issue. The report says that Keon Edwards, the driver of this bus, he was overtaking a lane of vehicles because we can't wait in this country. You know? We see it all the time. And he had no cognizance for the lives that he was transporting. A whole lane of vehicle, it said, the report, that he was trying to overtake, resulting in the collision with a motor car driven by one Jason Ramnot, and subsequent collisions with other vehicles that led to the bus that he was driving with these sacred lives. The bus lost control and toppled multiple times, the report says, before coming to a halt. And listen, this young man who succumbed recently as well, along with the driver Keon Edwards, Dexter LaRose, an ordinary construction worker, going about his day. Dexter LaRose. And the report tells us that Dexter succumbed to his injuries, internal bleeding, they said, and broken legs. Succumbed to his injuries on his 31st birthday. On his 31st birthday. This young man succumbed to his injuries. Folks, again I say, Guyana has the most dangerous roadways in the world. The most dangerous roadways in the world. And before we go, the Auditor General is telling us that 92,000+ vials of Sputnik V expired. You remember we had the Sputnik V scandal? You all remember the shady sheik, Dalmud Al Maktoum, who we bought these vaccines from? He came to Guyana for one thing. Next thing, he's supplying vaccines. Sheikh Dalmud Al Maktoum, you all remember that? There's so many scandals we grapple with in this country on a daily basis. 92,000 vials of those vaccines, expired. 92,000. Yeah. Believe it or not, that's taxpayers' money that's going to be washed down the drain. Yeah. Aaron, Kishan, Beryl, Jacqueline, 92,000. Could you imagine? Could you fathom that? Could you fathom that? What a waste. Do you get a refund? Could we get a refund for this government? Believe it or not, folks, Debbie Collins, I took the Sputnik V, and then my booster was Johnson & Johnson's. That was the one they paired it with. 92,000. Wow. Before we go, folks, some additional information we're following this morning. Look at these headlines. Kanu intercept car with gun and ammunition. Them boys getting set for the Venezuelans. Prison officer Angelica Cameron charged and remanded to prison. She was trying to smuggle narcotics into the prison. And so sad. You know, a porter was crushed to death on the Barometer Road. We didn't just talk about carnage on our roadways in this country. Dangerous roadways. And then they're telling us, Robeson Ben, that is Minister of Home Affairs, 4,000 persons have been issued with work visas in the last 3 years. That's a very conservative figure. Very, very conservative figure, folks. Bring you in very quickly some of the things we're following regionally. This is a local issue. An overseas-based Guyanese is counting his losses in the millions after his home went up in flames. That's the other pandemic we have. Fires every day in this country. A house goes up in flames. It's phenomenal. It's an unexplained phenomenon. Because you and I know there's about 17 of us here. And a house goes up in flames every day. We're watching that, folks. And then we learned that entertainer Ricardo Drew passed away. And he was engaged, we know, to another Caribbean sensation, Patrice Roberts, I think it is. Our thoughts and prayers with his family. And he's been described as kind and real and a passionate entertainer. Losing our young people. Losing our young people at a fast rate. Our condolences with his family. People of Jamaica. Our condolences, folks. Jamaica and Canada are partnering to help to boost the Haitian police force. Kudos to Jamaica. Kudos to Jamaica and to Canada. Because Haiti needs help. Haiti needs help, and they're helping to bolster some of the building capacity with the police force there in Haiti. Look who we lost. Fantastic actor. Fantastic actor. Andre Bralja. Hope I'm pronouncing it right. Gone at 61, folks. Our thoughts and prayers with his family and the people of the USA of well. Lost a fantastic actor. Fantastic actor. Gone at 61. What good, our brother. What good. And then finally, folks. Finally, the US is announcing new sanction. Hundreds, they say, of new sanctions, hoping to isolate Russia. Now this issue we're following. Right? Now this issue we're following. Hundreds of sanctions. Folks, we are going to leave it there this morning. John and Rastaman, Kyle, we're going to leave it there, folks. So much happening. Will this meeting happen tomorrow? Looks more and more unlikely. Wendell Hudson, Cloud 592, Clouds 592. Hugh Lafferman Rubens is here with us as well. Yeah. Lots happening, lots happening. Lots happening. And it comments. Folks, we got to hang out on Saturday. We got to hang out on Saturday at the Alliance for Change headquarters on the railway line. You know, if you want to come through, but don't come empty-handed. Bring something when you come in. Yeah? We're going to be there from 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Come, let's touch base. We can We're trying to salvage what can be salvaged of this season, right? You know, the late great Martin Carter says in one of those epic ballads of his, it's a season of oppression, the carnival of misery. We try not to let it get there. We want to salvage what we can of Christmas, folks. So we're going to have a little social on Saturday at the Lines for Change headquarters and the railway embankment, folks, just off Sheriff Street. If you want to come by and say hello, but don't come empty-handed. You know, everybody gonna bring something, a platter of cheesecakes, you know, what do you call it, of mac and cheese. Somebody gonna bring a case of something and don't come empty-handed. We'd love to see some of you. Just giving you guys a heads up. If you have no other commitments, we'd love to see you. We would love to see you. All right? Janet Elias says she's bringing KFC. You're welcome, Janet. You are welcome. You and the KFC. Welcome. And all the other folks joining us this morning, thank you so much for being here with us. B-Ment, thanks for the contribution. Thank you so much. B-Ment. All right. Lois Levans, good to have you here in the live as well. And Kyle and all the other folks. Denny Champagne, Forbes, Majus, good to have you on the live as well. All the other folks joining us, share the live before you go. Smash that emoji button, folks. That's going to do it for us at this end. Take care until the next broadcast. Right? Sandra Hanover, we see you as well. Good. Is it Reina? Y'all got these fancy, lovely names. Reina, a very good morning to you too. Edward Brooms, we see you there as well. Sandra. Good to see you, Sandra. I like simple names like that. Can't go wrong. Sandra, Debbie Collins, Rastaman, Veronica, Downridge, Petrie, good to see you, Veronica. Michelle is here as well. John and Everett, Veronica, Yolanda, Kid Evans, Junior Jackson. Guys, have a fantastic rest of the day. That's going to do it for us at this end. Stay safe.